up, guys? Second Reject and Fluffy here.
Hello.
We're gonna do a deck profile on his
$30 Ice Barriers deck. It's pretty much the best cards out of 3 structure decks, and my list is a 42 card list because that's just how I go with my decks. But I've play tested it and it works fine for a $30 budget deck. But don't be thinking you're gonna go to locals with this deck and win every single match. You'll probably get a few matches in, but
it did really good against my Prank Kids deck.
Yeah.
I uploaded earlier today, or technically earlier today, because we're doing this late at night. But hey, whatever.
But so the first 3 cards that you want to play 3 of is Revealer of the Ice Barrier. She is like an in deck needle fiber, and yes, I know it's hybrid. I know its real name is so and so, but I'm gonna call it needle fiber. Then
isn't hyper? It's something weird.
Yeah, it's something weird. I can't even pronounce it.
Yeah.
And then you got Speaker of the Ice Barriers. You play 3 of her, and the whole reason why is because she can, when you control Ice Barrier monster, you can special summon her, and then when she's in the graveyard and you control Ice Barrier monster, you can banish her and get a level 1 Ice Barrier token monster. So that can help with synchro plays. That's it for the 3 ofs of the Ice Barriers. I'm gonna go to the 2 ofs. 2 of the General Waynes. He's technically he can special summon himself if you control an Ice Barrier monster and your opponent controls a monster. But whenever he's normal summoned or special summoned, it lets you search for any Ice Barrier spell or trap. So he's like a Rhoda for your a Stratos for your spell or traps.
He's more like a Cyber Dragon Stratos kind of thing, because he can special summon himself for your opponent as a card.
And then I play 2 of the Zinjin of the Ice Barriers. I probably butchered that name. Now I play 2 of him. Okay, so the reason why I play 2 of these guys, I was thinking about running 3, but at the same time, I only run 2 of these. So because the whole idea is summon this guy out. He's in your hand. Tribute him, special him out, and get your search. And that's if you're going first. That's why I only run 2 and 2. Then Hexa, Spirit of the Ice Barrier. This is like the best tuner in the deck because not only let's see, let me read. Okay, so whenever you control another Ice Barrier monster, your opponent's monsters lose 500 attack defense. And then his other fact is you can send a Ice Barrier monster from your. I think it's just monster. Let me see if it's monster or tuner. You can send a level 3 or lower Ice Barrier monster to the grave, and if you do, his level becomes that card's level. So he's like the best tuner in the deck because he can go from being level 3, level 2, and stay as a level 1.
He's like the Nordic card. God, Nordic deck was wild. I just remember the Nordic card doing the same thing like that.
Yeah, actually, I am thinking about trying out Nordics again, but I'm not 100% sure. Then the next card you play 2 of is Defender of the Ice Barrier, because 2 things. He's your level 3 tuner, and the other thing is while you control another Ice Barrier, all of your opponent's monsters whose attack points are equal to their defense or higher cannot attack. So he's a good floodgate and good for stalling. So unfortunately, cards like Link monsters are immune to that because they have no defense. So, and then I run 2 Commander of the Ice Barrier. The reason why is because not only because he's a level 2 tuner, it's also because 2 other reasons. I put him in there for preparation of making this deck a little bit more competitive, and because he's a level 2, and there's plenty of level 2 monsters in the Ice Barrier deck that you can put in there to make Herald of the Arclight with. But he also has a floodgate effect that all level 4 and higher monsters, if you control another Ice Barrier monster, cannot attack. Then I run 2 prior of the Ice Barriers. Mostly for his tribute effect, because you can tribute this card and target 1 Ice Barrier in your graveyard except for himself and special summon it. But his special summoning effect that special summons himself can come in handy as an extender if you're trying to work up a different combo, which with another card, which I'll get to it sooner, or well, I'll get to it later. And that's it for the Ice Barrier card. So the next card I run a 3 of because it's a good extender, and I prefer it over that one other extender card because I can't remember its name. But I run 3 Aqua Spirit because you just need to have a water monster in the graveyard, banish it, special summon her. That's like almost a free extender right there. Then I am using for the next card Fishborg Launcher, and the reason why is because it's a level 1 tuner and it's another tuner monster, and you can special summon it from the graveyard too, so that's why I use it. But that is the end of the monsters. So for spells, I run not one, God, Winds of the Ice Barriers. In this deck, you should run 3 or 2 to 3. In a actual competitive build, I am not sure how many you should run.
I think usually in most competitive builds of any deck with a field spell, they run 2.
It's not a field spell.
Oh, is that not a field spell?
It's just a normal spell card.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So, yeah.
I thought it was a field spell.
No. But pretty much what it is, it lets you tribute any number of level 4, or no, any number of Ice Barrier monsters and special summon that same mini from your deck. So this card, the whole reason why you've run this card in this version is because sometimes you get into your tuners, because you know, even though you have a monster that can get your tuners out, sometimes you need to get different levels out to make your monsters. Okay. So this comes in handy. Okay. Then the next card is Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier. I actually know this effect already. Pretty much when it's activated, special summon a level 4 or below Ice Barrier monster from your graveyard.
It's essentially a water version of, or it's like, I can't remember the name of the card. It's something wave. It lets you special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster
yeah, I think
per turn.
No, not per turn. It's just 1 level 4 or lower Ice Barrier.
No, I'm just saying it's the card. I think
yeah.
it's called Big Wave, I think. I can't remember exactly what it's called.
And then its other effect, the reason why you run it at 3, is that when you control 3 or more Ice Barriers, your opponent's extra deck monsters' activated effects cannot do anything to your Ice Barrier monsters. So, an example, say your opponent has Dragoon or Savage out. Their effect to activate their negation is an activated effect. So if you try to use one of your Ice Barrier monsters' effects while you have 2 other Ice Barriers out, their negate cannot stop what's going to happen. Like, especially if you have 2 other ones out and you summon him, perfect combo. But then the next card is the Rhoda of Ice Barriers. It lets you add any Ice Barrier card, which is Medallion of the Ice Barrier. It's a really good card. This deck...
It's more like a Toon Table of Contents, actually, because Toon Table of Contents lets you add anything with Toon in the name.
Yeah. And this one lets you add any monster... Actually,
it's any... Ice Barrier.
Yeah, any Ice Barrier monster.
Oh, is it monster? Okay, so it's Rhoda. Technically Rhoda.
And 2 salvage, because it's a generic water support. It lets you get 2 water monsters with 1500 attack or less to your hand.
This deck is mostly water, ain't it?
It's all water.
Moray of Greed would be really good in this deck.
Yeah. And it's actually gone down in price a bit. It's only like $2 and something now.
Yeah, Moray of Greed's actually really good for water decks.
Surface. So now Surface only lets you get Sea Serpent, Fish, Aqua, and I think that's it, that are level 3 and below. But a lot of your level 3 and below cards are that.
Yeah.
So it lets you, it's another Monster Reborn. But you can easily take one, if you have it, you can easily take one or both of these out to put Monster Reborn in, because you already got that continuous spell that brings them back, and it's not, it's once per card, but you can only activate that part of the effect once per turn, and it's a hard once per turn, so just be wary of that.
Wait, so you said there's one card that's if there's a card in the grave, you can banish and special summon, right? I think Maria Greed's effect is draw 3 cards, discard 1.
No, draw 3 cards. Or no, draw 3 cards and you shuffle 2 back into the deck.
Oh, okay, sorry. It's been forever since I used that card.
And then there's 7 trap cards I run because they actually come in clutch. This deck actually needs trap cards because there's no hand traps. Fiendish Chain. And funny thing is, I read it, and it works on Boros Sword. So if you
doesn't work on Burrow Load, though.
Yeah, it doesn't work on Boros Load.
Because Burrow Sword is it can't be destroyed by battle. Burrow Lord cannot be targeted by card effect.
And then another card, like this card that got reprinted, makes me very happy it got reprinted, even though it wasn't that much, but still, it's a good card. 3 Crackdown, because again, stops Boros Sword.
Yep.
And then the next card I run, I didn't even get to use it in the duels that we did. So, but it's I'm not even gonna really explain it because I'm thinking about taking it out. It's not really worth running. And that's Terror of Trishula. Like, you have to have like 3 synchro, certain number of synchro monsters on the field to even use its effect. And it's just
depends on the number of Iceberg synchro monsters you control with different names. 1, you can banish 1 card from your opponent's controls. 2, banish 1 card from your opponent's graveyard. 3, banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand. When your opponent activates the effects, targets the Iceberg synchro monster you control, you can banish this card from your graveyard and negate the effect. You can only use each of the effects once per turn.
Like, it's not bad.
Oh, and you can apply the in sequence to the. It's not bad, but it
has too much requirement.
Yeah, the amount of time, if you want to pop off 3 every time, which you're not going to, it's kind of redundant. Because you get like 1 extra deck card out, and it's pretty decent.
Yeah, and then for the extra deck, which it's not a full 15 card extra deck, and so obviously you run 3 of the new big boy Trishulas, mostly because it's non-targeting and non-destructive removal, and it happens as soon as it's summoned, and when it gets destroyed by an opponent's card effect, it automatically negates and special summons a Trishula from your extra deck or graveyard to the field as a 3300 beat stick, and it halves your opponent's monster's attacks that's currently on the field.
It's Mirror Force for the turn.
Yeah,
it's Mirror Force
Wall,
for those
Mirror Wall.
I always say Mirror Force. I'm half out of it right now.
But this is like the first card I try to go into every time. It normally works, but like you can actually get him you can get this guy out pretty freaking easy. 1 Trish, I'm actually running my ultra rare version instead of the super rare because I like ultra.
Because Trish put to 1, which I can understand why.
Yeah, which I wish they would have done an errata on Trish, making it a hard once per turn. Then it would have been able to come back to 3, and then which would let this card be much more powerful.
Then they would have just put that to 1 or banned it.
No, because Trishula's effect only happens when it's synchro summoned. This does not synchro summon it.
I know. I'm just saying it would. One of those cards would be limited to 1, no matter what.
So I also run 3 of Gungnir, Dragon of the Ice Barriers, just because it lets me discard up to 2 cards from to my graveyard to target the same number of cards and destroy them. Which it's meh. It's a level 7. You want your next best attacker because it's 2500 attack, but it's not that great. But
I didn't see him go into that like once.
No.
For any of our duels.
1 card that I wish I would have went into because it would have helped me beat over some stuff, but I was more focused on getting Trish out because I just wanted to see you know, because I felt like Trish is the better option. But one of these guys, he is done. Hang on, I got to flip it around. These names are hard to pronounce. Delanier, I probably butchered it. Tiger of the Ice Barriers. So pretty much him. He lets you return ice barriers on your field besides himself back to your hand, and he gains 500 attack for each. And he starts out at 2,000. So
what's that one dragon card? It does something similar, but you have to like tribute your entire field. I don't know.
So pretty much he's the beat stick, and he's been errated, and he's only at 1. But I believe with the next ban list, he's gonna come to 3 because he is set up as a hard once per turn. So, and then the last card you run is Brignac, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Pretty much, I run it at 3. I'm just putting 2 down for right now. So you discard any number of cards to the graveyard, then you target the same number of your opponent, cards your opponent controls, and you return them to the hand. So it may be targeting, but it's non-destruction removal, even though it returns back to the hand. So
It's the synchro version of I can't remember the number, but it's a heretic dragon.
Heretic.
Heretic? Is it heretic?
Yeah, it's heretic.
Heretic dragon sends you send as many cards as you can from your hand to grave, and you can destroy as many cards on the field. I think it's I don't know if it's monsters or everything, but it's been a while since I've used that card.
I want to just show 3 cards that you can add in, just to kind of help it out. Which it's not part of this deck profile, but if you got them, go ahead and add them. Croco Boy, because so say you use him, you make him and have him, and you make him. You use him to return all your cards back to your hand. This guy, when he's made, lets you draw a card, and then you return a whole bunch of your monsters. His attack points is going to go up a lot, because he gains 500 attack and defense for every card in your hand. So that's a lot. So that's a good combination between these two. And I've done it once against one of my other friends. So it's very good. And then these two of these guys, Core Dragon, which is kind of like it's similar to it's similar to him in the level 7 Ice Barrier, but you just discard 1 and destroy a card. It's just like that. So, and these actually came as a reprint in the Nordic decks, so it should be relatively cheap.
Yep. Most of Fluffy's decks are cheap, good budget decks, shockingly enough.
Yeah.
Because most people like to think budget decks are garbage. They're not. They're actually really good if you know what budget cards to put in them.
Yeah. Especially even a deck like Odd Eyes. So, because what was it? My Odd Eyes has gone toe to toe with actual competitive decks, and it's done pretty well. It's been up against the best Pendulum deck, or best version of a Pendulum deck, the Endymions, and it completely tore it apart. And I'm more of going for OTKing and having 1 or 2 negates, and that's it. But yeah. But this deck, what it lacks in it is fast. You can synchro out your big boy pretty fast, most of the time on your first turn. But it doesn't have a whole lot of protection. It doesn't have any negates, so you need to add cards such as Herald of the Arclight, the Totally Awesome, and Bahamut Shark package, and maybe add in Borreload Savage Dragon. And these are all cards that have been reprinted to where the price is a lot cheaper. Like Borreload,
I think Savage is still pretty pricey.
He's about 10-ish, 15-ish. But if you can't get Savage, the other ones are fine. The other ones are cheap. And there's a version of the deck that you can actually play with frogs that helps you get out Totally Awesome, and you can run 2 Totally Awesomes and have 2 Omni Negates on board. So, But that's it for the deck profile. I would show a side deck, but that's up to your personal preference. And there's been plenty of people that have done the side deck, which my side deck is pretty much the same as theirs. So.
Alright, I'll go